Now, more than 350 families in Zululand face possible eviction from their land. That's if plans by India's Jindal Steel and Power to mine go ahead. This move has been met with angry community members that have vowed to fight any plan by the company to start mining. Jindal Steel and Power has applied to conduct operations on 20,000 hectares of land for a period of 100 years. Joining us for a conversation about this is Tshepo Fokane, who's a researcher at Alliance for Rural Democracy, as well as Ncedo Mngqibisa, who's a researcher at Land and Accountability Research at UCT. A very good afternoon to you both. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we know that community members have been up in arms, and really they keep emphasizing that they will not allow anyone to take their land. And of course, speaking about some concerns, the impact that this will have, let's get some reaction from you, Ncedo. What are your views around that?
Thank you for having me. I mean, this has been going on since 2011, wherein communities were saying that we do not want mining to happen in our land. And in a South Africa, democratic South Africa, where people are allowed to air their views and consent whenever development is going to be happening, particularly mining, we are finding a very strange situation where the mine keeps pushing forward, even though communities are saying that we are actually don't want any mining in our community, as that is generally the communities of Ndembeni and Makasaneni as well.
And Tshepo, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, the community keeps saying no, but that seems to be met with even further aspirations of acquiring the land.
Thanks so much for having me. Hi to the listeners. Absolutely. People have been very vocal about resisting Jindal's efforts. In so far back as, when they were also prospecting, people have said, we think that they destroyed the wetland and other parts of our environment, and we feel that if mining proceeds, there would be trouble for us. More especially, people are saying, I am a customary landowner, so I have every right to say yes or no to development. And development should happen on my terms, not because a corporation states that jobs will be made and that this will now change our community. People are also wise. They are saying, we've seen mining in other places. Has it changed people's livelihoods? Has it put them in a better position?
Just to add, can I just add to what Tshepo had said? Communities, for instance, had even gone to areas such as Tuba to just see the impact of mining in those communities, and therefore they have then realized that what they have, which is actually very fertile land with rain almost the entire year, is actually much more profitable than just a salary that will destroy their lands and their rural livelihoods, basically. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what the communities are saying, that look, we are fine where we are in terms of development. We have rural development that we are pushing on ourselves, so we don't want mines to push our development. We are satisfied with how things are.
Yeah, I mean, that shows us that this persistence is a sign that the Jindal group has a lot to gain here. What is the organization's ultimate plan on the land and the benefits thereof? I mean, Tshepo mentioned the jobs that will be created versus the actual acquisition, the actual deal. There are major disparities.
Well, one of the things that Jindal wants to do is it's going to be an open cast mining, so you can already see the environmental impact. But there is also a possibility of relocations where communities are going to be relocated, and these communities are going to be relocated probably the second time now in 100 years, and people are still are relieving the traumas of the relocations that had happened earlier when farms were taking over their land, and now they must endure that for the second round. And also they have promised 50,000 jobs, which is highly unlikely if you look at how mechanized the modern mines have become. I mean, this is going to be an open cast mining, so the chances of having 50,000 jobs is highly unlikely.
Yeah. Tshepo, looking at, I mean, you made mention of how the residents are essentially customary landowners. What legal standing or footing do they have to continue perhaps to really ensure that their human rights are protected here? Because they keep saying no and the push hasn't stopped.
They absolutely are protected under the Constitution, more especially under one act called the Interim Protection of Informal Land Rights Act. This specific act is the one that people who have these informal land rights are using all over the country to protect themselves. It's the one that can govern what would happen if people are going to dispose of their rights, if in fact they consent, and will they be compensated. All of that is located in that act, more especially because the courts in KwaZulu, I think about 2 years back, it was the court case whereby the people said, we do not want to convert our customary land ownership to residential leases. This was done obviously by the Ingonyama Trust. The court found in favor of the applicants and said, these people are owners. They cannot be made to be tenants on land that they've lived on for more than 100 years. So people have those existing rights. In addition, you would find that there's an online petition created by the Ending Crisis Forums. This is a group of people who came together and said, using a petition on change.org, and they've amassed more than 5,000 signatures. It's really significant because when you read through the comments, you see that it's a cross-section of society, customary landowners, commercial farmers, resident, interested and affected people from all over the country saying, we have living proof of how mining affects households and the communities and the environment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's perhaps leave that discussion there. Tshepo Fokane, researcher at Alliance for Rural Democracy, and Ncedo Mngqibisa, who's a researcher at Land and Accountability Research at UCT. Thank you for your time.